This tutorial will cover how to set up tutorial steps that use text only. We'll also go over how to use the focus on objects during a tutorial step that will use an image overlay and create a cutout on the focused object. We'll also show how to use user input to progress through the tutorial. For our tutorial modal, we have the close button, which will be inactive, the next button, start button, the title, media raw image, and video player will be inactive, and our body text will be active. So you can see they're all mapped into the tutorial modal script for it to work, even though we're not using some of them. So I've already laid out all the UI elements that I wanted to. So you can see we have the tutorial modal background, the next button and start button in the same location, and the body text. The next thing we want to do is make sure that this layout is saved. So in the tutorial layout manager, if you don't see it, you'll just need to add component and search for the tutorial layout manager right here. So we'll see that we have no layouts found for now. We will add our default layout, and that'll be added like so. If we wanted to have another layout, we can, for example, put default 2 and add a second layout, and we'll be able to swap between the two by just using the drop down and clicking on apply layout. So this will be useful if you have multiple formats that you want to present your tutorial in. Now that we have everything set up, we can add our first step. So I'm going to title it movement. We'll freeze the time, and we can leave the start method for now. And we want text, support rich text, and I'll just paste my own text here. And the proceed method will be manual because I want to check that WAS and D are pressed before the next step in the tutorial. If you want audio, you can check this box and drag the audio clip into this field here. And the layout will use the default that we set up earlier. In order for the movement tutorial step to complete, we have a short script here that checks that WAS and D are pressed, and when those are all pressed, then complete step will trigger for the tutorial system manager. So we'll take a look at that now and press play. So when we press WAS and D, that disappears and we're able to continue on. For the second step, we're going to call it retrieve the key. We will freeze time. And for the start method this time, we'll use the manual because we want to make sure that we run into the trigger volume to trigger this tutorial pop-up. We will use focus on object this time, and we want to focus on the key, and we'll use the blur overlay that I have in the canvas, 0.1, and set this to 0.1. Support rich text, paste in my text to retrieve the green key to unlock the door, and we will keep the rest the same. I'll add this step here. And when I press play, welcome to the tutorial, use WASD to move. And when we hit the first trigger volume, we'll be able to see this overlay with the cutout focused on the key object. We can hit continue. For the third step, we're going to call it shooting. We'll freeze the time, and we'll set it to manual to use that second trigger volume behind the door. And we want to set this to input. So we'll use legacy, key down, and space. Support rich text, and paste in the text here. So in this instance, it's different from the first step because we're just checking that a single button is pressed. In this instance, it will be space. And let's leave that as default, no audio, and add the step. And for the fourth step, we're going to call it, I believe it is targets. We'll freeze time here as well. after the previous step, so this will trigger right after the instructions to shoot. We'll use text, and we'll just say shoot the targets when they turn red. Leave these all as the same and add step. So now when we play, we'll use WASD. That dismisses the first tutorial. Then we have this pop-up. Continue. We retrieve the key. Door opens and we hit the other trigger volume. And the text is missing, so let's see what's wrong there. Looks like it didn't save that text. Let's try that again. WASD. First trigger volume for the key. Second trigger volume, shoot with spacebar. We press spacebar and it moves to the next tutorial bit and continue. There we go. So those are the 4 steps for the text-only tutorial. Now you know how to focus on objects to guide new players and use player key inputs to progress through tutorial steps. Thanks for watching.